This is the 442 podcast.
Welcome to the 442 podcast. We had quite the week, rough week to be a Liverpool fan, and I think we're going to start off with the Champions League midweek. So, yeah, I guess I'll just start off with Liverpool since that was kind of the most disappointment for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow, it was so frustrating, honestly. I mean, they played better than they did in Paris.
Yeah. Oh yeah, much better.
Much better than Paris, but I still think PSG was probably the better team, and they just weren't quite on it.
Yeah.
And then the penalties, I know you and I were talking about it. We said if Darwin takes one, he's gonna miss. And look what happened.
Sure did.
He misses his penalty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's classic Darwin. And then Curtis Jones, his penalty was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to admire the fact that he was a volunteer, so he was brave, but horrible penalty. I mean, I know Darwin's was awful too, but Curtis's was even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, no power, just kind of went up there, looked scared. I know he was brave to volunteer, but awful penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And I know Salah gets criticized sometimes for the big games, and that was a game where I think we needed him to just do a little bit more, and he just wasn't quite on it.
Yeah, other than making his penalty, which I think that was the only.
Yeah, he did make his penalty, but during the game, I was like, "Come on, we need a Salah goal.
Yeah,
we need it to happen," but it never did.
Yeah, that was a shame because he's got that Ballon d'Or possibility, and now
it's kind of ruined, shattered now.
Yeah, that could have killed that, really. I mean, still the league, and if he turns it on, after the international break, and keep scoring goals, keep getting assists. I mean, you think he's still in the running, but that would have made a difference if he'd have won the Champions League and the league, and he kept performing the way he had been. But yeah, he's definitely been off, and I'm not sure what that is. It's just he's playing all the time, so I don't know if it's catching up with him. But Slot's good about rotation, and he does bring him off rather than just leave him out for the full game if it's looking comfortable. But yeah, that was disappointing for Liverpool. Yeah,
very disappointing that Liverpool was knocked out. I know I had them going all the way to the final, so that didn't quite happen, didn't quite pan out. And then, what do you think of the Atletico Real Madrid game? Because that was quite the game.
Well, there's another team talking about a disappointing week. I mean, not as quite as disappointing as Liverpool because, here you are getting knocked out of the Champions League, and then the Carabao Cup, losing that and not really showing up and disappointing there. But with Atletico, the way they went out, that whole penalty situation that's what started it. I mean, they played so well, and going to the shootout, you had what was that?
Alvarez with the double touch.
With the
alleged double touch.
Yeah,
you think it was?
I mean, may have been, but it didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And that rule was put in place so you don't just go up and dribble the ball into the goal. That's the whole point of that rule, not something like that. So now I think Atletico complained.
Or Real complained. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And they complained about the rule. And,
yeah.
They're looking at making the change to that rule and saying, it's more of a judgmental thing. If it's an accidental touch, it wasn't intentional, that the referee can still award the goal because, if he'd have just said goal, no one would have noticed.
Right.
But the fact that he just barely touched it, I can't really see it. I mean, it's not doing anything to the ball. So that was a shame. And they just can't seem to beat Real Madrid in the Champions League.
No.
So it was disappointing for them, really was. And that was a good game. And they had their chances. And, just Real Madrid gets through by hook or by crook. They do it, right?
Shocker. Yeah. I know we almost had that prediction spot on because we said Atletico Real is going to have a penalty shootout and then Atletico is going to go through. So we were very close to that prediction, but unfortunate. Real Madrid goes through again. So I hope they get knocked out in the next round, but time will tell.
Yeah. Well, even the last one, the clincher for Rudiger, I think it was, and Albeck said he got his hand on it, but he just couldn't keep it.
Oh, I know. That was so close.
And it just barely went in.
Yeah.
And so just unlucky, but lucky again for Real Madrid. So here we go. You're right.
Yep. So
maybe they can get knocked out.
Maybe next time we'll see. PSG's through. Villa cruised through. We kind of called that one. Yeah. So it will be Villa versus PSG in the next round. So that'll be an interesting matchup. I'm going to be rooting for Villa. What about you?
Oh yeah, I'm going to go with the English teams. Going to have to, So yeah, Villa.
Okay.
For that one, and I think it'll be close. If PSG shows up the way they did against Liverpool, I think they're going to get through, but Villa's got a good team. You've got a lot of experience there. You've got a World Cup winning goalkeeper And they're playing really well. They're scoring goals, Asensio. I think they have a good chance. And it's knockout. It's a cup competition, so anything can happen.
Right.
So
Right.
just because PSG beat Liverpool doesn't mean that
No.
now they're all the way to the final, right?
No.
So
PSG they have problems with the Champions League, so
yep.
I doubt they're gonna win the whole thing.
No.
We'll see. They do have a strong team. I was impressed against Liverpool in both legs, so they were impressive, but I still don't think they're gonna win the whole thing. So we'll see with that one. And then Arsenal was pretty much already guaranteed after that 7-1 thrashing. So they tied at home, but they're through.
Yeah.
So no surprise there. And then our prediction, Dortmund did get by. They won 2-1 in France. So they're through barely. So they got it. And then Bayern surprisingly handled Leverkusen. No problem. They won both legs, home and away.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even a challenge.
Yeah, I know in that first leg they had someone player sent off, but I thought that was going to be a lot closer.
Me too.
That one, because it is in the league.
Yeah.
And maybe Harry Kane's going to get his, he's going to probably get his league medal in the Bundesliga because they're winning the Bundesliga.
They should, right?
Maybe he'll get a double. Maybe they'll do the Champions League too. I mean, here they go.
It could happen. I feel like Bayern, I don't have any beef with. So if they win the whole thing, I'm fine with that, honestly.
Yep.
I'm no hate towards them. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the Champions League. Did you have anything else to add on to the Champions League games?
No, I think like we said, I wish Real Madrid hadn't got through, and Atletico had got through, but and I would like to see, even though I'm a Chelsea fan, for Devon here and my wife Kathleen, that they're both Liverpool fans, so I was disappointed for them. So I was definitely rooting for Liverpool since Chelsea had nothing to do with that. So nothing else to add.
Yeah, it was frustrating for Liverpool. I really thought they were going to do better than getting knocked out instantly. So it was a little surprising for Liverpool. But yeah, it just looked like some fatigue. I don't know. I heard some fans criticizing Slot for not rotating quite as much, just because like Diogo Jota he hasn't been quite on it.
Yeah.
And he's still getting those starts. So and then I know we had some injuries. Gapco and then Trent went out in that game as well. So a little bit of some injury problems, but I guess we can now talk about that crazy Carabao Cup final with Liverpool. So another disappointing game for them. Newcastle, I will say, mad respect to them because I know they hadn't won a trophy in how long was it? Almost 70.
It was 70 years for the domestic trophy. That was the last time. So. A long time, yeah. They had it coming. They had a curse, pretty much.
Yeah,
so.
it was. I mean, I guess it's about time for them. So if you're a Newcastle fan, props to you, and I'm happy for you because Newcastle did play well. Again, it wasn't Liverpool's best performance.
No,
they
flat again, I'd say.
Yeah, they were flat. The forwards, he didn't make any changes to the starting lineup when I feel like he should have because again, it wasn't Salah's best game. Diaz, some of these guys that have, they're playing almost every game, and Liverpool's played so many games this year, and they looked a little sluggish. And you could tell when Slot brought on, someone like Chiesa, who's barely played this season, he looked hungrier than all the other forwards combined.
Yeah, he had energy, and he scored.
So it was, I'm not saying he should have started Chiesa, but he could have, I don't know, maybe, I know Gapco was coming back, but change something up. Start Harvey Elliott. Like, I don't know, change something.
Yeah, because Elliott's pretty fresh. I mean, he's just but Gase, the same thing. He looked hungry. I know he hasn't done great, because he's had injuries, but in that one, that would have been a good opportunity to give some of the other guys a break.
Yep.
And I think it was a carryover from the Champions League, just the hangover from that and losing. And so the players, they did look tired. Didn't have the ideas, I think, and the energy. Whereas you got Newcastle didn't play European football last week, so they're fresh, they're hungry, definitely motivated because that's the only thing they can win. I mean, they can still get in Europe this year, but they have nothing else to lose, and their fans. I mean, it's a one team city, Newcastle, so. 70 years of hurt of not winning anything domestically.
Yeah,
a long time.
It is a long time.
So. Yeah, good for them.
Good for them. And then one other thing I wanted to add was I feel like Liverpool's kryptonite this season has been from corners and crosses. I don't know why, because we have a lot of height. We're good in the air. But for some reason, why is McAllister marking Dan Burns?
We said that. Before the game, we said that because I think that even during the league game, which Liverpool won, McAllister was trying to mark Dan Burn from corners, and he barely comes up to his head barely comes up to his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's 6'7", Dan Burn, so there's
Yeah.
no way. If it's a perfect ball, there's nothing he can do. And he's a big guy, so it's not like McAllister can even push him off the ball.
No, there's nothing he can do, so I'm not blaming McAllister. And I know the center backs, Van Dijk, Kanade, they're playing a zone, so I understand that. But how about you put somebody who has size
At least
on Dan Burn, like Szoboszlai or, I don't know, Kwanzaa, somebody who's tall.
Anyone.
Yeah, anybody but McAllister, not the shortest guy on the field.
No.
So I just didn't understand that. And look what happens. Dan Burn scores from a header, and McAllister couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure how tall McAllister is, but
I think he's 5'9".
5'9", so the only guy shorter on the team probably is Harvey Elliott. So
Yeah.
it'd be like having Harvey Elliott mark Dan Burn, right? So
Yeah, I didn't understand the logic there. So hopefully going forward, McAllister is not put on the tallest guy on the opponent, the opposing team. So
and that hurt you in the also just kind of going back to that Champions League. We talked about this, how in the penalty shootout you lost some really good penalty shooters just for substitutions or cards. I think it was McAllister had to come off because I think he picked up a yellow and probably rest and part of the rotation. But that's a heck of a penalty taker to have not in your penalty lineup. McAllister, Szoboszlai, the captain of Hungary, he's their penalty taker. Mm-hmm. So some big misses there that now you got to try to fill.
Yep.
And that did not help.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%. Szoboszlai, would have been nice to have, and McAllister for those penalties, because I just knew Darwin, there was no way he was going to make it, and of course he missed. So
and now Curtis Jones is going with more pressure and getting nervous, even though he volunteered.
Yeah, exactly. So that was unfortunate. I was reading some comments. Some people think Liverpool's going to fumble the league now because of this dip in performance, but I just don't see that happening, especially with now that we have a few weeks off for the international break.
Yeah.
There's no way Liverpool's going to come back from that break and then lose, all they would have to basically lose every game.
Yeah, that's not happening. I mean, what is it, 12 points now because the games are level.
Yeah.
Arsenal got their game in hand made up because of the Caribou Cup. So it's impossible. Yeah, I mean, sure, they might splutter here and there, but they're not going to lose the league. They're, like the song goes, they're going to win the league. Right?
Yeah.
So I think so. I mean, I can't imagine that. And now they've got even more motivation. They're, it's like
nothing else.
This is what we want, and this is what we're going to do for our fans. And so I think, they're still going to make it.
Exactly. No, I don't see that happening. And especially with that break, I think everybody, Liverpool community had a rough week. So I think they'll go take this international break, come back strong, and it'll be fine. I don't see this dip continuing for much longer.
No. And Trent, hope, he should be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And hopefully Bradley too, because I'd like to see him get some game time as well.
I don't know about Gomez. He's a good player.
Gomez, we've been missing him as well.
You could have definitely used him out there. And so, you'll be in a good position because you'll have additional players that should have recovered for the run-in. So should be good.
Definitely. And then going on in the La Liga, the title race over there has been very tight, very interesting. So we had Atletico play Barcelona, and I thought Atletico was going to win because they were up 2-0, and somehow Barca pulls back a 4-2 comeback. What happened in that game?
In Madrid, too.
In Madrid.
Come on, yeah, that was a crazy game, and they had a bad week, just like we said.
Rough week for Atletico and Liverpool fans.
Yeah, really miserable week. But yeah, that was something else. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I think they had a game in their domestic cup, and I think it was a 4-4 tie. I mean, they've had some good games, Barcelona and Atletico, and so yeah, that's interesting because usually it's always Real Madrid and Barcelona, and now you got Atletico in there as well. And so yeah, it's a 3-horse race, and it seems like that could still go either way. I think Barcelona's on top now because they won. Otherwise, Real would have been on top. So that's pretty much back and forth.
It's super back and forth, and Barcelona and Real Madrid are currently tied on points. They only have a 4-point lead over Atletico, though. And Barcelona does have a game in hand, so I would say they do have the advantage right now. But it is anyone's game, honestly. So it's super close. And I just wanted to say, Lewandowski, man, his goal was so good. So I can't believe he's still scoring goals like that. He's 36 years old.
Yeah.
And he is currently leading with 22 goals over Mbappe right now.
That's amazing. I mean, you would expect that. You'd think Mbappe would be winning that.
Yeah.
And especially 36. But he's one of those center forwards. I mean, he's like Harry Kane. He doesn't have the pace, but he knows where to be at the right time and great positions. Scores so many goals, and still playing for Poland, I think, as well. So heck of a player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't believe he's still doing it for them. So good for Lewandowski and Barcelona. I hope Atletico takes the La Liga, though. I hope they win the league because they're definitely the underdog of the three, but we'll see.
Yeah, former Chelsea player there, Conor Gallagher, who I like.
Yep,
So
yep.
I'd like to see it for him. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I wanted to talk about Messi for a little bit. So for the MLS, there has been a lot of fans upset and complaining because if they're on the opposing team and they're playing Inter Miami and he doesn't show up, they get super frustrated because the tickets get, surged basically for those
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
And then, but he's older. He's getting on, so he can't play every single game. So I don't blame Messi, but a lot of fans are kind of upset with that and how that's going because they're promised that, Lionel Messi's going to be in the game and then he doesn't show up and they're paying more money. What do you think he's been kind of like good or bad for the MLS so far?
I think he's been good for the MLS, but it would be really frustrating, and I could see the frustration of the fans because I know there's been many situations like that, and you might pay way overpriced for the tickets because you want to see him. World Cup winner, greatest, one of the greatest players of all time, and but like you said, he's getting up there now. He's
Yep.
getting older. He's not going to be able to play every game. And injuries happen, and he's not going to just go out there and play if he's injured, and that's not going to happen. So I think that could be part of the, not being educated about soccer. I think it is
Yeah.
more of a show, and the guy's going to be there. And no,
Right.
it's not. It's a sport,
Yeah.
contact sport. And so, but I think overall he has been good for the league because more interest, I think,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to help just at all levels encourage people to want to play. New parents with kids they want to get them into. You see lots of Messi jerseys
Yep.
everywhere, not just the Argentinian, but obviously the Miami jerseys. And so, no, I think overall that was a very good move for them to bring him in. I mean, I know there's been lots of players, designated players, but no one quite like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to really help, I think.
It feels like when Beckham came to the LA Galaxy, but way bigger
Yeah.
just because of who Messi is and everybody knows him and just how good he is.
Right.
So it's been good. No, I would say overall definitely good. But yeah, I see where those fans are coming from because if I was a fan and I was like promised to see Messi and I didn't and like that's my only opportunity, it'd be kind of frustrating.
Yeah. And you spent extra money to get the tickets in the first place.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. So maybe and it's kind of hard because they probably don't know, until that week of whether Messi's going to travel or not because he is old, so he just can't play every single game.
Right. Exactly. So.
It is tricky, but I guess as soon as they know, they should probably be like, "Hey guys, like he's not coming to this game."
Yeah.
Just so the fans are kind of like aware.
Yeah, exactly. So you get that frustration on the night.
Exactly, and maybe like wait to buy your ticket until it gets closer to the game if you can.
Yeah. Or lower those prices a little bit, knowing that.
Right.
And trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then so now we have a little break from the Premier League, which is good for Liverpool. I'm happy about that. What you wanted to talk about England, right? Coming up because they chose their squad. Tuchel.
Yeah, Tuchel's first squad. So some interesting choices. Dan Burn, and you can't really criticize that guy because he scored in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, I mean he's having a good week.
Yeah,
so
unusual to get your debut at 32 though.
Very unusual.
And I think he started out in the Nations League, kind of like Wrexham, basically.
Wow.
So originally, when he was young, cut by Newcastle. I think when he was an academy player, and then went to Darlington, but worked his way up the league with different teams, and found a home with Newcastle. I think he played for Fulham, but that was a bit of a surprise. But if you look at it, Tuchel's only got so much time, and he's not on a long-term contract. His contract is basically win the World Cup.
Yep.
And so he can't have this building phase. And if you look at centre backs, England doesn't have a lot of centre backs right now. I mean, you've got John Stones, who's off and on injured. He's a really good centre back. Ben White. He was really good. He fell out with Southgate, didn't want to play for England. He's been injured. He's just coming back. So Harry Maguire, who I don't really care for, no disrespect to United. I think he's injured too now. But so there's not a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And so not just to rely on you. If you've got someone who's an experienced player playing for a top club, a club that's played in the Champions League, so you can kind of defend it. But I wanted to ask you what you thought about the selection of Kwanzaa. Because I know he's not one of your favorite Liverpool players.
Yeah, so
Guy, you know, but
I know he's young, so I'm not a Kwanzaa hater. It's just this season he's had so many opportunities and he's been quite disappointing, I will say. And I know he's playing out of position most of the time. He's had to come in at right back, but he has played center back in some occasions.
oh yeah,
And when he's been at center back, he just has not looked confident
yeah.
at all. And he looks nervous. I feel like you can see it on his face. And so I just don't understand that getting picked for England.
Yeah.
Is it because we have so many like injuries and the defense is kind of lacking, or what? Like,
Yeah.
why is he choosing him?
I think so. I mean, I think the same reason he got Dan Burn. There's not a really good solid center back partnership, and so many of the center backs are injured, or so it's a challenge. So I think he knows he's a young player. He's playing for Liverpool, and I know he's struggled this season. It seems like, but maybe this will help his confidence get
Right.
selected for England. But yeah, we talked about it. He looks a bit scared. He looks when he's out there, he looks like he's worried about making a mistake.
He
Just
does.
has that look about him. I don't know what it is. Just like you see Curtis Jones go for the penalty, and he doesn't look confident.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that was a surprise. Who else did we have? And some admissions, I think.
Mhm.
We had Gibbs White. I think he's played great for Nottingham.
He's had a great season.
But as I understand, he has been called up now, and I
Okay.
don't know if that's because of Cole Palmer has an injury, so
Mhm.
that could be why he's in the team now.
Right.
But I was surprised he wasn't selected. And Kyle Walker, I guess that's the experience factor, because I know he's getting up there now.
I feel like he's past it. You can clearly see in the games he's played for City.
I do too. And then another one I questioned was Henderson, Hendo, because
That's
he's
crazy to
playing
me.
for Ajax now, and he's 36, I think. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's to try to have a mixture of experience,
Yeah.
continuity there. But that was a surprise. But we got a lot of the standard players. Rashford too. I thought that was a bit of a surprise. I know he's starting to get some form with Villa, but he hasn't really played for United, so he
No.
hasn't played that much. And Reece James, who I love, I was a bit surprised because he's just coming back from multiple injuries. He's another one, just has such a hard time with injuries. He's been out. He's missed so many games. He's the captain of Chelsea. He's a great player, but I don't know if he's quite ready to be selected.
Right.
But I think part of that to do. Tuchel was the Chelsea manager. He knows
He knows Reece James.
he
Yep.
knows what he can do, so he's saying, okay, more based on that than anything, I think. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We got the games coming up. I think the first one's Friday against Albania.
Yeah.
And then Monday Latvia. So two
Okay.
first games. Let's see how we go.
See what he goes with for
Yeah.
the starting 11.
Yeah.
Hopefully England gets a couple wins. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting. I can't believe about Henderson. That's crazy to me. I mean, I loved him on Liverpool and I thought he was such a good player, but I just thought he was a little past it now to get chosen for England. So that was a surprise for me.
Exactly. I was surprised, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, these games coming up, England should beat.
They should.
They should win these games, whoever they put out there,
Yeah.
really. But we want to see what he's starting with, what his ideas are, what his formations are, how he's going to play, how he's going to dictate to the team his style. So I'm excited to see it.
Me too. Me too. So that was pretty much it. Did you have anything else to add on to this crazy week?
No, just Chelsea disappointing against Arsenal.
Oh yeah, did you want to talk about the Chelsea performance against Arsenal? I know we didn't really talk about that.
I don't really want to talk about it, but I will a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
Cole Palmer, who hasn't been playing well, my prediction was he was going to score some goals, get back into it, and he got a knock. So apparently in training, he's got a muscle injury, and so he probably will be dropping out of the England squad too. But yeah, disappointing. I mean, I think we almost had a goal, and it was a goalkeeper mistake by Arsenal. Cucurella, of all people, almost scored, but I think we only had 2 shots on target the whole game, and had quite a bit of possession, but just didn't have any cut and thrusts up front. So Arsenal got their goal, and they weren't too impressive, but kind of a dull game for Arsenal Chelsea game. Those usually have some fire in them, and this was not a great game.
Not the best game ever.
But we're still in 4th.
You're still in 4th. Yeah, I was gonna say good news for Chelsea is that Man City, they tied Brighton 2-2.
Or else we wouldn't be in 4th.
So that's good for you. And yeah, I mean I'm not really surprised. Brighton's been a pretty good team this year, so them tying City was pretty understandable. And Marmoush, he scored again. I feel like that was a good signing for City. I know they've had
Yeah,
so many problems this year, but
good player.
he's a great player,
Yeah.
and I like him. I know it's still like early on for him there, but I could see him being a huge threat next year. You never know; he could be a Golden Boot, potential candidate next year. I thought he's been very solid for them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, there wasn't anything else really crazy in the Premier League. Liverpool didn't even play because of the Carabao Cup. Did any of the other games kind of stand out to you?
I did see the Ipswich highlights. I mean, I hate to bring that up because, like we said, that's
Every week it's us, yeah,
yeah.
talking about them, their
I mean, I
frustrations.
feel really sad for them because
Yeah,
they played really well. I
yeah,
mean, you can't look at the scoreline and think 4-2, okay, they were
mm,
horrible. They weren't. I think they had more possession than Forest. And I know Forest usually plays on the counter-attack anyway, and they're very strong defensively. But Ipswich they were in that game. They had, a number of passes they had, the possession, the shots. Ended up 4-2. I think they scored two goals in the 80th minute, something like
right.
that, and then Forest got one more to make it 4-2. But just those little mistakes. I think the first goal was just that's what piles up for Ipswich because I think it was it should have been a clearance
Hmm.
on the header from the corner and miscommunication, and it fell for Forest player. Boom, back in the net. That's it. And then
Yep.
there was a quick second goal, and just the final score 4-2. So the bottom three, like we've been saying,
Set in
it's
stone.
done. It's done. But it's out of the three that are going down. Ipswich is definitely the best team because
Yes.
Leicester
Yes.
can't even score. They played Man United, lost 3-0 to
Yeah.
Man United. I mean, really? So they are unable to score goals at all. And we know how Southampton is. So, yep, relegation is done and dusted.
It's unfortunately done. I mean, I'm just gonna hope that Ipswich, when they go back down to the championship, maybe since they're having this Premier League experience, they'll use that to their advantage next year in the championship, and maybe they'll bounce right back up. You never know.
It happens. I mean, look, Leeds looks like they could be coming back up
Right.
potentially. And Ipswich's arch rival, Norwich, has done that multiple times. They've
Yeah.
gone up and down. They've
Hmm.
yo-yoed. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, nothing else that I want to talk about today.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't our best week for
our teams.
for our teams,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But yeah, now we get a little break, and then we can talk about the international games next week. But yeah, appreciate you guys listening, watching. Let us know in the comments what team you support, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.